What is school?
Okay, I found this.
We just finished up our weekly business meeting. Got some stuff squared away on the calendar, some week-long events coming up, and just getting on the same page. It's hard to imagine like how we operated before we had these weekly meetings.
Yeah.
Look over there.
Morning. Morning. Daddy saw you guys first.
You're the people from the vlog?
I started paying attention to my cable bill, and I realized that every month Time Warner charges me $10 just to rent their modem. And you can buy a modem for like 40 or 50 bucks. These ones were 55 bucks, I think, on Amazon. And look, it says Time Warner certified. See? All that matters is that it's a DOCSIS 3. Sorry, Cammie would be here, except she's complaining about my firewood.
I just knew that our porch was a little bit wider, but it's been taken up with all the firewood, which
Today is kind of a crazy day. If Filia was in public school, this would be her first week going to kindergarten. Hey Filia, do you want to go to kindergarten? Do you know what kindergarten is? No? Do you know what school is? Well, school is a place that you go and they teach you things and you play with other kids, but you're not with your parents all day. You're with other people.
Does that sound like fun? Do you know that we do school at home sometimes?
Sometimes.
Like when Mama reads to you.
That's not school. All right, nice try.
Yes, it is. They're learning things.
Just because they're learning things doesn't make it school.
Well, let's define school then. What is school?
A school is an institution designed to provide learning spaces and learning environments for the teaching of students under the direction of teachers. It's not just because you have one institution.
So we're melding family with learning, but it's not school. That's interesting. So
okay.
then homeschool shouldn't even be called homeschool.
Well, some people institutionalize it at home.
Yeah, that's not me.
Dove, when she was 5, we sent her to kindergarten.
I have a picture we should show him. I'm a vlogger. I know how to do these things.
We are now 11 years later. One of the things I remember feeling with Dove was that we had to send her to school. We always felt like we were behind. In fact, we felt like we had to send her to preschool before kindergarten because we were like seeing everyone else was learning all this stuff. And we felt like every minute and month and year that went by that our kid wasn't learning, we were like getting behind.
And I remember feeling I'm not qualified to teach my kids anything.
Now, we don't feel that way. We don't feel behind. Filia is learning her letter. She knows letter F at least.
Honestly, like I know I can teach her how to read. I've been waiting just because there's not a specific like age or timeline that I have.
What she's learning, look, right now, can you see that? There she is right there, and they're playing Foursquare. And for us, that's enough. We don't feel behind just because she's learning Foursquare and not reading, writing, and arithmetic right now. 11 years ago, Cammie felt like she couldn't homeschool the kids. Did you go to some homeschooling school, mom school, where now you feel super qualified?
No, I took 2 years off of school completely so that I could feel more qualified.
I think you might have to explain that.
Which means It was really Ben saying, I think we need to take this time off. And I really was afraid to do that because I felt like, well, gee, if I already feel like I'm behind, if I take 2 years off, I'm going to be even more behind. But what that 2 years did, it accomplished basically one thing. It forced me to face the fears that I had and to call them out. I don't think my kids are going to be smart. I'm not going to be a good parent if A, B, or C. It's hard to explain, but somehow those fears stopped controlling me.
Most of what drove our educational decisions back then was fear. Fear of being socialized too much, fear of not being socialized enough, fear about not being good enough parents.
I didn't like the kind of relationship I was having with my kids where I was standing over them and saying, you need to learn this, you need to get this. And I realized so much of my own identity was like wrapped up in what they were learning.
Now we see the purpose of education is connection. So when we ask the question, are we the best people to homeschool our kids or to teach our kids? We are the most qualified because we believe parents are supposed to be connected with kids. And they're our kids. So that's why we homeschool them. It's kind of weird. At that age, I think you were talking about this earlier, you couldn't wait. We couldn't wait to send Dove off, our kids off to school to be away, to kind of have our alone time. Now, we can't wait to be with them. We just see it differently.
I think I would have shortchanged myself of a lot of growth if I would have just sent my kids to school.
I think that the decision to homeschool has caused more growth and learning for us than anything else we could have done in this life. And we believe kids are as much there for us as we're actually there for them. We don't believe we have a whole lot to give them, but they have a ton to give us.
For me, that connection with parent to child, that relationship, we get 18 years. To me, that value is more important than them getting a certain kind of education.
So you guys have heard from us. We believe education and childhood is for connection. What do you think? I know a lot of people think that it's preparing them to be an adult, or that it's preparing them to make enough money, or it's for socialization. Put it in the comments below. We'd be interested in hearing that conversation because we think everything is actually for connection.
I'm gonna show you the watermelons. I think we have 5 or 6 of them. Here's one. There's our biggest one, I think. There's a lot of little ones that you can't really see. There's one. These watermelons, you couldn't even tell they were here when we left from our trip. And when we came back, they were all overflowing. They were all on the sidewalk and stuff. It's crazy.
Hello! Oh, hi! Oh, you almost fell over. It is so hot today. And we are actually on another mission right now. But while we're walking, we are going to take the time for Tattoo Tuesday. How are you? How are you? Today's tattoo is kind of a short story. Cammie, can you show this for them? It's on my back. That symbol is called a triquetra, and it's kind of like a Christian symbol that people use to represent the Trinity. Besides that, it doesn't have a ton of super symbolic meaning for me. The thing that makes that tattoo the most meaningful for me was actually who I got it with and when I got it. I got it with my brother. We got him in the same place on our back. We went to some sketchy place in Seattle. I think the guy did kind of a crappy job. The coloring sucks. We got it I think 3 weeks before I got married. So it was one of those last things that you do as brothers before I went off and married Cammie. My sister actually got one on her back too that looks different. Every once in a while, I think about getting it kind of like spiffied up a bit so it doesn't look like crap.
Our brother-in-law, Will, turns 31 today, so we're heading to his work to give him a present. Right when we walked in, he saw us. We were trying to be a little more stealth, but...
Since we were talking about public schooling and sending our kids to kindergarten, I figured I'd ask Dove, who is the only kid of ours to actually go to public school. You remember kindergarten?
Yeah.
What was it like?
It was kind of weird because you have this like kind of culture in your family, and then when I talk to other kids, it's like really weird. It's just kind of different, like two completely different worlds.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I remember liking it, especially preschool, but I liked kindergarten too. We mostly just drew pictures and stuff.
Would you want to go to public school now?
There's some things that I like about it, but I don't, not really, you know.
This isn't an anti-public school or a pro-homeschool message. We don't believe that. In fact, I think the biggest thing that's given us freedom is not feeling like we have to do either one of those. Sometimes when we were in public school, like Cammie shared this morning, we felt like we had to do it, or we were like always behind, or our kids were not going to be good enough, or we weren't going to be good enough parents. And there's times where we've homeschooled for the same reason. In fact, the homeschooling pressure I think is worse, where we feel like we have to do it, we have to do it right, and we have to be ahead.
Because it's all on your shoulders.
So we hope you feel like an adequate parent for your children just because of who you are, not because of what type of education you provide them.
The best gift you can give your children is yourself.
We actually believe that.
Hey.
Hey, hey.
The baby's eating crackers. The baby's eating crackers.
Oh my goodness.
I forgot how to cook. Almost.
Yeah. No, I don't think so.
But David took an oath and said, your father knows very well that Johnson knows this, or he would.
Tonight we're celebrating Bryan being a new dad, so I got him a fancy cigar, and we got some ribeye steak.
That's good, thanks.
Drink that Stanley Curtis. Cheers.
Isn't family an institution?
Yeah, but that's family.
Well, in family life, she's going to school here. In family, because we're a family. And family is an institution.